Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive into this because today we're unpacking a profoundly beautiful, historically preserved story about Hazrat Abu Darda. May Allah be pleased with him. We're going to explore this incredible narrative that perfectly captures how seemingly small, everyday acts of kindness can have an absolutely massive impact on the lives of others. What we're looking at today isn't just some historical recount. It's a timeless, incredibly relevant blueprint for empathy, quick action, and the true, deep meaning of charity. My children are hungry, and I've nothing to give them today. I really want you to just pause and hear that sentence. Think about the heavy, devastating weight of those words. This is a direct, whispered plea from a father who has hit an absolute wall of helplessness. This isn't just about, missing a single meal. It's about that visceral, heart-wrenching pain of a parent looking at their starving family and having absolutely zero resources to fix it. We really need to ground our entire discussion today in these severe emotional stakes, because this is the stark reality of the situation we're stepping into. I want you to picture being transported back in time to the city of Medina at dawn. The sun is just starting to peek over the horizon, casting these long shadows over the quiet streets. And amidst that peaceful morning, there's this intense, private struggle happening completely out of view from the rest of the waking city. We find this poor man sitting entirely alone. His eyes are worried and tears are just streaming down his face. Really focus on the sensory details here. The isolation is practically deafening. He's sitting there in the early light, physically separated from his family, simply because the burden of knowing his kids are starving at home is just too much to bear. It's this very specific, crushing despair. He's totally isolated with his worry, with literally no immediate prospect of relief on this particular day. Right at this moment of total isolation, our narrative shifts, walking quietly through those dawn streets as Hazrat Abu Darda. He's just going about his morning routine, but he doesn't just walk past. Actually, he actively intervenes. Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is the exact anatomy of this pure act of kindness. It happens in 3 distinct steps. Step 1, he actively notices the tears. He doesn't look away or pretend he didn't see. Step 2, he acts without hesitation, instantly giving the man the food he was carrying. And step 3, he directs all the thanks to Allah alone. This isn't just some random act. It's literally a masterclass in how a true believer processes the suffering of others and immediately responds. Let's deep dive into that concept of acting without hesitation. It's defined beautifully as instantly handing over the food you're carrying without expecting anything in return. Think about the psychology of that for a second. So often, when we see someone in need, we pause, right? We analyze. We wonder, well, do I have enough for myself, or does this person really need it? But when confronted with this father's desperate plea for his hungry kids, Hazrat Abu Darda bypasses all of that entirely. The instant he registers the need, boom, he hands over his own provision. That sheer speed of action is crucial. It shows a heart completely wide open to helping. The physical act of handing over that bag of food was really only half of the profound lesson here. The other half is the spiritual and psychological framework behind it. It's about how the gift was delivered. Hazrat Abu Darda intentionally deflected the praise, asking this incredibly grateful man to thank Allah alone. So the crucial point is that he completely removed his own ego from the equation. He didn't stand there waiting for a grand thank you. He didn't want the man to feel indebted to him at all. By redirecting that gratitude, he kept his own intentions completely pure, and, just as importantly, he protected the dignity of the man receiving the food. Just think about your typical, everyday, worldly interaction. Usually we expect something in return, whether that's a favor down the line, some public recognition, or honestly just a subtle little boost to our own egos. Now, beautifully contrast that with the mindset demonstrated here, helping others sincerely to seek only Allah's pleasure. It is a completely pure, entirely sincere mindset of a true believer who is seeking absolutely zero worldly reward. It takes a simple, everyday transaction of food and elevates it into an act of profound spiritual worship. The impact of that one single bag of food didn't just stop out there in the street. It created this incredible ripple effect right back into the man's home. We go from a devastating initial state of worry, tears, and hungry kids to a total resulting transformation. Smiles of immense gratitude, hearts completely filled with hope, and a family that is finally eating together. Take a moment to just let the heavy emotional weight of that transformation settle, from absolute despair to absolute relief. A small act of kindness changed their entire day. The outsized impact of this single moment literally cannot be overstated. It was just a brief encounter. It probably took, a few seconds for Hazrat Abu Darda to hand over that bag? But those few seconds of mercy completely rewrote a starving family's reality. It turned a day of guaranteed suffering into a day of nourishment and joy. It is the absolute definition of how simple acts help others in ways we can barely even comprehend. As the sun sets on a day fundamentally changed by one person's choice to care, we're left with this powerful spiritual guarantee: kindness never goes unnoticed by Allah. This reinforces such a beautiful, ultimate reality for the true believer. Even if your act of mercy is done in the quiet, lonely hours of the dawn, even if no other human being on earth sees it, and even if you deflect all the praise, every single sincere deed is witnessed. No act of pure mercy is ever wasted. When we pull all this together, the core lessons are incredibly clear, and this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we need to take away. We absolutely must actively help those in need. We have to remember that kindness can be incredibly small. Sometimes, it's literally just the groceries you happen to be carrying at that exact moment. We're reminded that true believers help sincerely, entirely for the sake of the divine. And finally, that Allah rewards every single sincere deed. It really challenges us to look closely at our own habits of giving and ask ourselves if we're acting with that same purity and urgency.